Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Blair, and today I'm actually going to share all of the makeup I would repurchase if I lost all of my makeup. And to be honest, I've tried to film this video a few times, but I felt like I was forgetting products and not getting to everything that I just have to have and I love so much. But I feel like I finally have a good list of products, and I thought I would sit and share them all with you and create a makeup look with them. So this is the look that I created, and if you're interested in all of the makeup I would repurchase if I lost all of mine, please keep watching and let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, let's get started. I have been wanting to film this video for a few weeks, but it's just been kind of hard for me to narrow down all the products and think of what I would truly go out without thinking and repurchase it if I lost it. And I think I finally got a pretty good list here. I have a few categories where I have more than one. I could not narrow it down to one, but I think I did an okay job. So we will go ahead and start with some skincare, and hands down for underneath makeup, my favorite moisturizer is this one. Y'all probably already know, from Skin Iceland. This 100% when I run out, I will repurchase it. It's kind of pricey. I think it's $48. But something about it, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the texture or what. I looked at the ingredients and I don't see anything like super unusual in there. So I don't know what it is, but this just does really well under makeup. But I think the reason that I love it is because I've mentioned this before, but it reminds me so much of Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, as in like the way it feels and the way it looks, but it doesn't have any fragrance, which I like the way the Magic Cream smells, but the fragrance for my face is just not the best, so I try to stay away from that. But hands down, if I lost it and when I run out of it, I will definitely repurchase this moisturizer. And you probably also know the next thing I would definitely repurchase. In fact, I'm gonna have to here pretty soon because it's almost gone. You can see I've hit the very bottom. It's the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Eye Cream. I've never tried anything for under my eyes, for under makeup, that I like anywhere close to as much as this. So this is always a non-negotiable for me. And then for a lip balm, you guys, I love lip balm. I have way too many, like way too many, but that's one of those things I just love to try new ones. But 100% my favorite that I own that I would 100% repurchase is the Summer Fridays one. I don't know if you can tell, but this, I actually had to start bending this back to get it because I'm starting to run out of this. But this is my favorite, and I have tons of them. I have the Tatcha lip mask. I have the e.l.f. Ride or Die lip balms. I have the Sol de Janeiro Boom Boom lip balm. I have the Laneige sleeping mask. I have the Laneige balms, and the Laneige sleeping mask I would repurchase for nighttime, but for sure for my lips before makeup, it would definitely be this one. Okay, let's start with the makeup, and I think I'm gonna do my eyebrows first. And if you watch my videos, you probably already know which brow products I would repurchase. This was an easy choice. I really did not have to think about this at all. And it's the Patrick Ta Brow Shaping Wax. And I actually have both of them. I have clear and tinted. I like both, but I would say if I had to buy just one, I would get the clear one, just because I like to go in, I like this mainly for the shaping of it and the hold, not really for color. So I do like the tinted one, but I would choose the clear one. And I would then go in with my NYX Micro Brow Pencil. These are it for me. I will not be without these two. Ever, ever, ever. One other thing I did write down, and I thought I brought it over here. Yeah. I would always repurchase e.l.f. Wow Brow as well. For days when I don't want to do either of these, I would use the Wow Brow. So these three products for brows, 10 out of 10 would go repurchase them if I lost them. Okay, so we will go in with the brow wax first. In fact, I feel like I'm starting to get quite a dip in the center of this brow wax, which is making me nervous because I refuse not to use this. I love it that much. So I'm gonna go in. This is the Patrick Ta brow brush also, but honestly, I just ordered a pack of disposable ones. I think I'm gonna start using those sometimes because I do think it works the best when you use a clean spoolie. So sometimes I just don't want to go clean this every single time I use it. So I did order some disposable ones. There's nothing that I've tried like this. I know there are some things that I've heard are similar. Like I think Makeup Revolution makes a product that's supposed to be similar to this. And then I know that the Anastasia Brow Freeze, I think is what it's called, is supposed to be similar. I have not tried either of those, so I don't know. But honestly, because I love this one so much, I really have no interest in trying the other ones. And this, I've mentioned this before, but I tried this a long time ago. And I didn't dislike it, but I definitely didn't love it. And I used to be like very into Anastasia Brow Wiz. And then I randomly tried this pencil again because of Kellyanne on Instagram. She's always using it in her videos and talking about it. And I was in Ulta one day and I just decided to try it out again, and I have not I have not looked back since then. I am obsessed with this thing. And I think it's $9.99 most places. So it's not really cheap, but I feel like compared to, I think Brow Wiz from Anastasia is like $23 maybe. And I actually have a new box of a Brow Wiz in there that I think I got during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, and I haven't even opened it because honestly I might give it to someone else or save it for like a giveaway or something, because I just don't think I'm gonna go back to anything other than this. Okay, so I finished the brows and now we'll move on to the eyes. First, for an eye primer, this was a no-brainer. I didn't have to think about this at all. It would definitely be my Nars Tinted eyeshadow base in the shade Light. I really only ever use this. I really don't use anything else as an eye primer. I have the MAC paint pot and that kind of stuff, but if I had to go out and buy one, this would be the one. So we're gonna do the eyes first because I want to use a little bit of glitter and I want to make sure I can clean it up a little if I need to. For an eyeshadow palette, so I chose two because let's be real, I'm not just gonna have one eyeshadow palette. Even if I lost them all, I feel like I would have to have two. And the first one may surprise you because this is a pretty new palette, but something about this palette just really speaks to my heart, and it is the Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette. I know this palette is getting a lot of hype and just a lot of people talking about it, and for good reason, because it is such a beautiful neutral palette. And what I love so much about it is not only the colors. If you love warm neutrals, you'll love this palette, but I love that it has these two cream shadows up here. And some people might not be like super impressed by that, but to me, I think that's a genius idea to include something like that and not something you see all the time. So that is the palette number one that I would pick. And palette number two, this was kind of difficult for me, and it might be a surprise, I don't know, but I went with the Dior Backstage in the cool neutrals tones. I also have this in the warm neutrals, which I also love, but it's more similar to the Patrick Ta, so that's why I went with the cool neutrals. But I feel like if I had this and I had the Patrick Ta, I would have purples, which is usually my color of choice if I'm going to use color on my eyes, and then I would have my neutrals. So these would be the two. Today I'm going to use Patrick Ta just because that's the kind of mood that I'm in, but I have done a video with this Cool Neutrals palette that I'll link for you in the cards and in the description. But today I'm in the mood to use the Patrick Ta palette. Okay, so I want to use a little bit of the lighter cream shade, which is called Lady, I believe, right here. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of this color. I'm not gonna take a whole lot because this is definitely pretty pigmented, like you can see. It gives you a lot of color, and I barely tapped in at all. But I want to use this as a base. This is pretty much what I've been doing every time I've used this palette, is going in with a little bit of this cream shade. I also like to go in with a cream first because I feel like it just kind of gives your shadow something to kind of grip onto. So if you're worried about your shadow not lasting on you all day, number one, I would say use an eye primer. Number two, I would say if you're not using an eye primer, use a cream shadow as a base for the powders on top. Now what I want to do is go in with the transition shade in this palette, which is down here. This to me is the perfect crease color. Like if I just wanted to use one shadow from this palette, it would be this one, because it's the perfect, for my skin tone at least, it's the perfect light. I think it's more of a neutral brown personally. I know this palette kind of, I would say, leans pretty warm, but this transition shade in particular, in my opinion, is pretty neutral, which I like. Okay, now we're gonna go in with the shade next to transition, which is called Absolutely. And to me, this shade is a brown, but it has a little bit of a rosy undertone. And speaking of things I would repurchase, if I lost my makeup brushes, this brush I would 100% repurchase. It's the BK Beauty 202. And it's definitely my most used eyeshadow brush. I also use the 201 that I used first a lot, but I use this one the most. So that I would totally go replace if I lost it. Now what I want to do is I want to use this shimmery matte. It's kind of a cream color, kind of more of a creamy white with shimmer to it. I think this is called Divine. And what I'm gonna do is I really wanna put this all over my lid, like the part where you can see there's nothing there. I really wanna get this shade all over that area. So I'm gonna, this is just a little Real Techniques. What is this? Base shadow brush. And we're just gonna take that all over my lid. Make sure to really get in my inner corner right here. This color is really unique to me. It's not white. It's definitely, I would say, more of a cream with some shimmer. Okay, now I want to go in with, let's see, this shade, this one right here. It's called Opulence. And this is more of a glitter topper shade. So I'm going to use my finger for this. And I mean, look at that. Look at that. Oh, like, oh. I mean, that makes your lids look wet. I love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, I think that's all I'm gonna do for now, but I am gonna come back and add a little bit more later, I think. But for right now, I think we're gonna move on to the face. Moving on to the face, we'll do some Corrector first. And I went back and forth with this one because I really have two that I love, love, love. But I tried to force myself to only do one. So I did go with Bobbi Brown in Bisque. I love the Nars one. Like I have it sitting out here. Now I'm starting to rethink my decision. Because they're very different. This one is much more liquidy. Obviously it's in like a tube like this with a brush applicator, whereas this is a cream. You know what? I think I would probably repurchase both of them just to have one or the other. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go in with Bobbi Brown first, and then I might add like a tiny bit of the Nars one on top. But Bobbi Brown, I mean, I've been using this one the longest. You can't go wrong with this one, in my opinion. Actually, I take that back. You can go wrong with this one from Bobbi Brown if you do not moisturize under your eyes, because this one is definitely on the thicker side. So the trick is you have to over hydrate your under eyes. Otherwise, it could definitely look a little bit dry. Now we will just go and tap this in. My mom was actually here visiting this past weekend, and I did her makeup. No, I did not film it. I wish I did, but I did not. She's still working on being comfortable with being in a video, but I did her makeup and I used this Nars Corrector on her, and she's not someone that uses a lot of makeup in general because she doesn't need it, but she also doesn't use Corrector like ever, and her coloring is very different from mine. She's olive skin toned. I know she has like, hopefully she'll be in a video sometime so you can see what I mean, but she just has the prettiest natural olivey skin, and her discoloration under her eyes is a different color from mine. It's more brown. And anyway, so I used the Nars Corrector in medium on her, and to me it made a really, really big difference. Now that we have corrected our under eyes, let's go into foundation. And again, I could not pick just one here. I had to pick a few because I'm never going to be the person that only has one foundation. So if I lost mine and I had to repurchase them, I probably own the most foundations and concealers. So this is tough, but I went with number one, the Armani Luminous Silk. This is such a classic. It looks good on everybody. The finish of it is so, so good and natural. And then I would also repurchase Dior Backstage Face and Body. This is such a versatile foundation. It is, I would say, a natural finish, natural medium coverage. It's super lightweight, so it's not thick. It's not cakey, good on mature skin. We actually tried this out on my mom this weekend, and this looks so good on her. We tried Luminous Silk on her also. They both looked really good. We did end up liking the Dior a little bit better, but for me personally, I really love both of them. So those are the two liquid foundations, and then I would 100% repurchase my Bare Minerals Original Foundation. I'm not going to use this today because it's not really the look that I'm going for, but I've used this in tons of videos that I can link for you in the description box, but this will always be in my makeup collection. I've been using it the longest and I love it. But what I thought we would do today, and I don't think I've ever done this before, is I'm going to mix these two foundations together. I've used them both separately tons of times, but I don't think I've ever mixed them. So that is what we're going to do today. So I'm going to take Armani Luminous Silk, and I'm going to start, let's see, with like a pump and a half of that one. This is the shade number 5. And then I'm going to take, this one is just a squeeze bottle. So I'm going to take just 2 little drops. That one, the colors are very similar. You guys, I've got glitter all over my hands from that Patrick Ta palette. But I'm going to, usually I would just mix this with my finger, but try not to get the glitter mixed in the foundation. So I'm just going to mix it with the end of my brush. This is the Smashbox blurring foundation brush. Would 100% repurchase this one and this one, BK Beauty 106 and Smashbox blurring foundation. They're very similar. I would normally kind of dot this on, but I figured since I put it on this palette, we will just go right in with the brush. I've never mixed these together before, like I said, so I don't know how they'll look, but I don't know, something about the textures of these I feel like will mix really well together. Ooh, and I think this is a really good combo. Oh my goodness. Look at the finish of this. Wow, that is a really pretty combo. Oh my gosh. I still have some left on my palette here, so I'm gonna go in and add some more. Okay, moving on to concealer again. You probably know which ones I would repurchase. There are 2 of them, and one is Hourglass Vanish and Nars Creamy Concealer. Love them both. I will say Hourglass, I think, gives a little bit more coverage than Nars, but I love them both so much. So both 100% I would repurchase them. I'm going to go in with Hourglass first. This one is the shade Cedar. And this one, I will say, I personally think most closely matches my natural skin tone, like the closest concealer match to me. And then I'll take a little bit of Nars, but I'm going to use this color. This one is Creme Brulee. This one is a little more on the pinky side. So I'm going to add that in the center. And I really want to do like glammy makeup today because that's what I'm in the mood to do. So I'm also going to take the Hourglass concealer and highlight just a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of this under my cheekbones like this, little on my forehead, my chin, and my nose. And the reason I'm doing this is because number one, I'm in the mood to do like more makeup today, and number two, I was watching before I started filming this Kellyanne on Instagram. I know I'm like a broken record. I keep mentioning her, but it's just because I'm just obsessed with her makeup style. And I was watching one of her videos and she was doing this technique with her concealer. I'm gonna blend the center of my face first. And then I'm gonna do under the eyes last because I want the most coverage there. And then let's see, where is my brush that I need to repurchase a second one of because I love it that much. If I lose this brush, you better believe I will be buying a new one like as soon as possible. For sure. Never going back. This is the Sigma FO3 highlighting brush. Okay, so I finished with the concealer, and you can see obviously this is more than I normally do, but because I want to go very glammy today, I applied that with my Sigma brush, and that combo, again, very good. I have mixed Nars and Hourglass concealer before, and that's like my holy grail combination. If I am in the mood to use more than one, I would mix those two. So now we will move on to bronzer, and this was also, this was difficult, but there was one that came to mind immediately that was not difficult, and it was Charlotte Tilbury, the Hollywood Contour Wand in the shade Light Medium. If you've seen any of my videos where I used this, this will not be a surprise to you because I loved this from the moment I tried it. Something about this I love, 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 and I only use it every now and then because it's very hard to get your hands on, but I love this. I've never used it and not liked how it looked on my skin. So I am going to I'm going to do one side at a time, but you do not have to with this product. You can seriously blend it so easily. You don't need to be worried about that, which is one of the reasons that I love it. So I'm just gonna blend. I'm using this Bobbi Brown. This is actually a foundation brush, but the size and shape are really good for blending out a cream bronzer. I mean, look at that. Look how easily I just blended that. It's insane. I mean, I just cannot get over how easily this stuff blends. It's insane to me. So I just kind of took what was left on the sides of my nose for blush. Again, you probably know which one I was gonna choose, but this one was pretty easy. Again, I'm obsessed with this product. I talk about it all the time, and it's Patrick Ta, the Double Take Cream and Powder Blush in this shade, She's That Girl. This shade is sold out constantly when I go to link it in my videos, and I am not surprised at all because it is that good. It is that good, and it looks so pretty. I feel like this color would look good on everybody. We used this this last weekend on my mom, and like I said, my mom has like an olivey skin tone. She's a lot darker than me, and this looks so good on her too. I mean, this is everything. I love this blush. I'm gonna use my fingers to dot it on, and then I think I'm just gonna use my foundation brush to blend this in. And when I blend this, again, look how easily it blends, number one, but like, look at this color. I mean, truly, I have a lot of blushes, but this one, there's just something different about this one. I don't know how to explain it, but it is so freaking pretty. Now we'll go in with a little bit of the powder side, and you can actually use the powder first with this formula. I just always tend to use the cream first, but you can actually use the powder and then put the cream over it. That's like one of the unique things about this formula is he made it so that you could use the cream or the powder first. Okay, for another blush I would repurchase 100% is the Buxom Primer-Infused blush in the shade Seychelles. This is so pretty. I use this all the time in videos, but this has to be my favorite powder blush formula. It is just perfect. It kind of reminds me of the Patrick Ta, the cream and the powder mixed together, because it is a powder, but it has a little bit of a creamy look on your skin. I love it. I also have it in the shade Mykonos, which is this one, which I also love, but if I had to buy one shade, I would buy the Seychelles shade for sure. I want to use a little bit of this because it's too pretty not to, so I'm going to take just a little tiny bit on this powder brush. This is the BK Beauty 104. I'm just going to add a little bit of that. It's more of a bronzy kind of blush, so kind of acts as a bronzer as well. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever done it, but it would probably be really pretty on its own, like with no bronzer or anything, because the tone is just so pretty. Okay, and then for powder bronzer, okay, this was really hard, really hard, because I have a lot of powder bronzers that I love, but I gotta go with this. It's Hourglass. It's the Ambient Bronze, or the Ambient Lighting Bronzer, and this is the shade Nude Bronze Light. I love this. Number one, I love it on my face, but I also really love this as eyeshadow. It's just, it has that obviously ambient lighting powder formula from Hourglass. So it's a powder, but it looks luminous. It looks like a cream, and it looks pretty over cream bronzer. It looks pretty by itself. It's just, and I'm only adding just a little bit because we already have quite a bit of stuff on my face, but I love this bronzer. I don't even use it in videos that often anymore because there was a time when I used that constantly, but just day to day I use this quite a bit. So this would be my powder bronzer choice. Okay, next we're gonna move on to a powder, and this was a hard choice just because I'm not a huge powder person, so I'm still like trying to figure out what my favorites are, but this one I have been loving, and I can honestly say if I ran out of this I would repurchase it, and it's the Kosas Cloud Set powder. This is actually a pretty new powder. This one is the shade Breezy, but what I like most about this is it's so thin and fine, but it does have a tiny bit of pigment to it. So it's different from like your typical white translucent powder. It has a little bit of pigment, but it's still very fine, and it has a little bit of a blurring quality to it, which I also really like. So I'm going to put a little bit of this under my eyes, and I'm using an eyeshadow brush because I really want to keep this right here and kind of down the side of my nose. Originally, I would have thought that I would pick the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush powder, and I do really like that one. But with this, I don't know, something about this one lately I've just really been enjoying. I've been reaching for it without thinking about it. And for me, that means a lot when it comes to powders, because I'm not typically like that with face powders. Okay, let's move back into the eyes for a second. We're gonna go back to the Patrick Ta palette, but first we're gonna go into my eyeliner that I would repurchase. You probably know what it is. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Eye Powder Pencil in the shade brown. I use this all the time. All the time. Even when I wear very, very minimal makeup, I use this a lot. So we are gonna do my classic, well, hopefully I don't screw it up. We're gonna do a little baby wing today. So I'm just lining my eye or lash line as close as I can get to the lashes. I'm not going all the way in, I'm going like a little past the middle of my eye. And then I'm gonna take my favorite brush ever, you already know, the BK Beauty 208. If I lost this, I would always repurchase it. And I'm gonna use this and a little more of the eyeliner to make just a teeny tiny baby wing. This is the only brush I have found that I can do this pretty much every time I try to do it when I want to do a baby wing. I use this liner and that brush, and that is my winning combo, always. So I don't know if other brands make eye powder pencils. This is the only one I've ever tried, but I love it so much, and I will always repurchase this. And this brush from BK Beauty, the 208. Okay, for my bottom lash line, I'm gonna actually do something I don't typically do. I don't know, I just kind of want to do it. I'm gonna take the eye powder pencil again, and I am going to add just a tiny bit of this to the outer corner. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but like just a little tiny bit. And then I'm gonna go into the Patrick Ta palette, and we're gonna take the transition shade again with just a small little brush and blend that out. Now I want to do a little bit of highlight, and if I had to pick one highlight, I don't even wear highlight all the time, but if I only had one, it would be this one, and it's Dior, the Backstage Face Glow palette. I would choose this over my Benefit Cookie highlighter, even though I love it. I would choose it really over any of my highlights. The only other one that I would repurchase that I'm not using today is Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, because that is a classic, but for just a powder highlight, this would be it. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of pink, gold, and white, and just apply a little bit of that. Not taking a whole lot. Okay, for mascara, this may shock you. This may shock you because it kind of surprises me, but I have been obsessed with the Covergirl Lash Blast, you guys. So this, I would say right now, is my go-to mascara. Honestly, the more mascaras I try, the more that I think truly you do not need to spend, you do not need a high-end mascara unless you just have one that you absolutely love and you just want to spend the money on it. You truly do not need a high-end mascara. This is so good from CoverGirl. It's like $6 or $7 and I love it. There is one mascara that I like for my bottom lashes, and it is a high-end mascara. So this, I know I just said I wouldn't repurchase high-end, but for my lower lashes, I love and would always repurchase MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash because this wand is just so easy to use under your bottom lashes. So this I would repurchase, although I do know that there is my mom was asking me about this the other day, there's the Maybelline Lash Discovery mascara that the wand looks to be like this one, really small and skinny. So let me know if you've tried that, because there's a chance that that would be a very good alternative to this one, but I haven't tried it yet. Okay, my camera just died, so I had to wait for it to charge enough so I could film this video. That means that I've been filming for quite a long time, but I just finished the MAC mascara on my bottom lashes, and now, last but not least, we have the lips. And this category was very, 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 very difficult because I have so many lip products that I love, but I tried to just go with what came to mind right off the bat. And for a lip liner, like I said, this is not my only favorite lip liner. I have tons of them that I love, but I love Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. This is, to me, just a perfect nude lip liner that goes with everything, and I feel like this would just be one of the first things I would repurchase if I lost my makeup. Her lip formula is, or her lip cheat formula is one of my all-time favorite lip liner formulas. It's just the perfect color. Love this so much. You can see mine's getting kind of small. That's always a sign that I really, really love something. And then for lipstick, I forced myself to just pick one. Well, one is more of a balm and one is an actual lipstick, but I had to go with Charlotte Tilbury again. This is JK Magic from her Hot Lips 2 line, and it looks so pretty with the Iconic Nude, and I just love this. I love the formula, I love the color, I love everything about this lipstick. Oh, so pretty. I love those two together. And then something else I knew I would repurchase immediately, but I'm not going to apply it because I don't really need it with these two things in my lip gloss, but I wanted to share it, is the Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick in the shade Nude Illuminator. Well, I said I wasn't going to apply any, but I'll just put a little bit on. This is my go-to tinted lipstick lip balm. To me, they call it a lipstick. I would say it's more of a lip balm with a good bit of pigment to it. But it's thin, it's glossy, it's moisturizing. I love this so much. This is better to me than my Nars Afterglow Balm, my Fenty, what are the Fenty lip balms that kind of look like this? They're in gray packaging. I have several of those, but I like this one in this color, Nude Illuminator from Revlon. I love it. And then for a lip gloss, I had to go with Nars Chelsea Girl. This is just the first one that came to mind. I love lip gloss, so I have tons and tons of them. But this one in this color, I love. Love. And fun fact, if you want this lip gloss, you can find this right now at TJ Maxx. In fact, this last weekend when my mom was here, we were at TJ Maxx and we found one of these, and I made her buy it because I used it on her when I did her makeup and it looks so good on her. And I swear, this is my favorite lip gloss. I love the color and it's not sticky. I love it so much. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you're still here, comment below and let me know that you made it to the end of this, because I know this is going to be a super long video, but you know, most of my videos are, so it's not that unusual, but I just had so many things I wanted to use and share with you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and share it with someone that you think would enjoy it or enjoy my other videos, and comment below and let me know some makeup products that you would repurchase if you lost them. It's kind of a weird concept to think about, but I feel like it really makes you think about what you truly love and cannot live without, and that's how I feel about these products that I used today. So I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram at simply.blair. I will have all of the products linked and listed in my description box. I'll see you next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.